Whispers in the woods. The sun dipped low behind the jagged peaks of the Sangre de Cristo Mountains, casting long shadows over the small town of Silver Creek. A thick blanket of pine trees enveloped the area, standing proud and menacing in the fading light. Locals often spoke of strange happenings in the woods, tales passed down through generations. Among these stories, one stood out, a warning against the skinwalkers, shape-shifting beings feared by the Navajo people. Elena Martinez, a bright 16-year-old with an insatiable curiosity, had moved to Silver Creek with her family just a few months prior. She had heard the whispers, the hushed conversations between her neighbors, but to Elena, they sounded like nothing more than old folklore meant to scare children. Little did she know, the woods were alive with secrets, both eerie and dangerous. It was a chilly autumn evening when curiosity got the better of her. She and her best friend, Marco, decided to venture into the forest. Armed with flashlights and her trusty journal, Elena was determined to uncover the truth behind the legends of the skinwalkers. "Are you sure about this?" Marco hesitated, peering into the thickening darkness of the trees. "Come on, it'll be fun. Besides, it's just a story," Elena coaxed, her excitement bubbling over. Without another word, they stepped beyond the tree line, plunging into the realm of towering pines and whispered winds. The deeper they wandered, the more the air seemed to throb with an unshakable tension. Marco glanced at Elena, his bravado dwindling with each crackle of twigs beneath their feet. "Do you hear that?" he whispered, catching her eye. At first, it was faint, a distant rustle, as if something was moving just beyond their vision. Elena looked at Marco, her heart racing. "It's probably just a deer or something." But as they continued deeper, the sounds grew clearer. Low growls and haunting whispers seemed to echo through the trees, weaving through the shadows. The hairs on the back of Elena's neck stood on end, and an unsettling feeling coiled in her stomach. Finally, they reached a clearing, a perfect circle bathed in pale moonlight. The air was electric, charged with an unseen energy that sent chills racing down Elena's spine. She opened her journal and jotted down her observations, her pen scratching against the paper, a futile attempt to ground herself. Then, an otherworldly howl broke the silence. Elena felt her blood run cold. It was unlike anything she had ever heard, a mixture of rage and sorrow. It echoed through the trees, mingling with the wind and making her skin prickle. "Let's go back," Marco urged, his voice shaky. "Just a little longer," she insisted, adrenaline coursing through her as her fascination battled her growing fear. Suddenly, a low, guttural voice drifted from the shadows. "You shouldn't be here." They froze, dread pooling in their stomachs. The silhouette emerged. A figure cloaked in darkness that seemed to shift and shimmer, its eyes gleaming like embers. It stood on two legs, but its movements mirrored something primal and animalistic. Elena's instinct screamed to run, but she could only stand in awe, unwilling to succumb to the dying light surrounding them. Who are you?" Marco stuttered, his bravado evaporating. "You tread on sacred ground," the figure growled, its voice slithering around them like smoke. "You disturb the sleep of the ancients." "Why, you're a skinwalker," Elena breathed, realization dawning on her. With a snarl, the creature lunged forward, the moonlight catching its terrifying visage, the face of a wolf, yet slightly human with twisted features, sharp teeth bared in a grotesque grin. The whispers in the woods grew louder, almost mocking, as an eerie chorus joined the chaos. "Run!" Marco screamed, snapping Elena back to reality. They turned, scrambling through the underbrush as the creature pursued them, its growls echoing in the darkness. Branches snagged at their clothes, roots threatened to trip them, and the thud of their hearts drowned out any thoughts of caution. Elena's flashlight flickered, a single beam of light illuminating chaos around them. The weight of the forest pressed down, and for a brief moment, Elena felt the cold fingers of panic grip her heart. But she couldn't let fear win, not now. "Don't look back," Marco shouted, his voice barely breaking through the terror. But as they neared the edge of the trees, the whispers shifted. They were speaking her name. Elena hesitated, the shang yin in the air curling around her like a lover's caress, enticing her back. "Elena, I can hear it," she gasped, tears blurring her vision. "Don't listen," Marco begged. "Keep running." Finally breaking through the trees, they stumbled back into the town square, the safety of the streetlights cutting through the darkness. They fell to the ground, gasping for breath, the terror of the woods still fresh in their minds. Behind them, the whispering subsided, but the creature's shadow loomed just beyond the tree line. It remained, a dark specter waiting, watching. The hunt wasn't over. They had escaped, at least for now. But the shadow of the Skinwalker lingered, a reminder that the stories were real and the woods were alive with something sinister. And sometimes, they would come for you in the night.